Hi guys, welcome to the Thursday night live of Circle Infinity, our manifestation group, Mindset and Manifestation. Hi Carla, hi Martha, hi everyone. The ones that don't have a first name here, I can't mention you by username. We give everybody just a minute to connect and then we'll get going. We have some topics tonight. We're going to talk about some strange manifestations. We're going to talk about dating and the way the dating life returns to you and why. Some advice on what to do next steps. What to do when you don't see your manifestation. Just want to make sure we get a few people joining. So guys, if you don't know, my lives are, well, they used to be 3 times a week. I'm going to go to 2 times a week, Monday at 12 o'clock, same time, and Thursday at 7 p.m., same as tonight. And 1 live I'm going to save for my Facebook group so far. Hi. And then we'll see how that goes, because I want to give more to the group of people who are doing the work with me. And I just want to give them more value, more in-depth questions, like on the live rather than just doing the material. We'll see how that goes, but I think they would appreciate that. So if you want to catch me on TikTok, I will go live Mondays and Thursday for now. And then we'll reassess again in a couple of months or in a few weeks. 60-day challenge is available for purchase in my bio. If you decide to do it, understand that you're part of a group energy, manifestation group, and you have to contribute energy as much as you get energy. Everybody in this group, for some reason, the new people are manifesting whatever previous manifestations we had. So we're getting more and more evidence that the group energy is supporting new members into manifestations they didn't even intend to get, but they're somehow getting. So that's, to me, that's very exciting. I didn't know this was going to happen. And when I see it happening now more and more, I'm still impressed by it. I'm still wowed by it, right? We're all still learning what is possible and how far we can take this. All right, the Facebook group. If you want to be part of it, please be part of it while you're doing the 60-day challenge. I do approve all posts. I mean, I go through them before they're published, because I want to keep posts to just very, very pertinent posts. And I don't allow anything emotional, because that's not fair to everybody else doing the work. We all have good days, we all have bad days, but I don't allow for postings that are emotional. It's not, everyone's going there for a safe space to learn more about manifestation, to learn more about what to do in specific situations, like the inspired action situation, like dating. And I just want to make sure I keep it very, very as pure as possible. In terms, okay, I'll take some questions. I got a question on shadow work, and somebody asked me, I think it was on my YouTube channel, what do I think about shadow work? So shadow work is, going, the way they describe it, it's going deep into your psyche and analyzing, reanalyzing yourself for all things that have happened and how they have impacted you. And it's deeper than that, right? It's psychological. So I don't have a degree in psychology, right? I never did this work, but the work that's very simple for everybody. And, there's negative to shadow work, right? They say, be diligent, this may happen and this may happen. What the work that always works with manifestation that I always recommend is uncovering your limiting beliefs. And you don't have to do this deep shadow work to uncover your limiting beliefs, actually. You just have to look at, this event happened, what kind of belief could it have created in my life? Right, this event, so I have a video on manifest money where I'm doing this exact exercise with money. And you should do this exercise with money, relationship, career, and your body. And you should see what beliefs were ingrained in you from the beginning. From this is relevant for under the age of 10, right? By observing other women, if you're a woman, What were the complaints of the women in regards to their body in your household? Did anybody tell your mom that she's heavy and therefore unattractive in front of you? Did you notice that men are commenting on women's shapes and forms? And all of this would have been imprinted in you as to who you think you have to be in order to gain love, for example. That's just an example. With money, if you saw your parents always budgeting, if you saw your parents trying to always make ends meet, the idea that it's never enough money may be an actual principle in your life. So you can't attract money because of it, right? So don't give this work necessarily a name. Oh, I have to do shadow work. I have to do... No, take a piece of paper, put it in a journal, okay? And do one page, minimum one page, maybe do one page and leave the other one blank just in case more idea comes to you. And section it, money, relationships, and body. Let's start with that. And list everything. So I mentioned this on another live that I've done this exercise with a friend of mine at some point a couple of years ago. And she is like a top, person. I don't want to say too much about who she is, but she's someone who is known in the world. And the elements that were on her list about her own body were shocking to me. Like how critical and how were things that I never even thought, I saw her as perfect and I thought she saw herself as perfect. And it was just brutal. Okay. So the stuff that comes up would be almost like your paradigm may be abusive towards you. That's what I would say about shadow work and doing all this internal work. Shadow work, you can go deeper later if you really want to, but for the beginning, really understand your limiting beliefs. Really understand what you've collected, right? So you came as a pure individual and then layers of conditioning started to collect in your energetic field, the debris of experience, debris of other people's energies that were imprinted in you and that you keep taking on just by existing in the world, maybe just by touching people. Maybe, it's just, there's layer upon layer. So I suggest you start with something simple if you're just starting this work. Let's see if there's a question about this. You remind me of Lana Del Rey. I've been told that before. Thank you. She's gorgeous. Thank you so much for that. How to manifest unexpected money. I have a video, I think it's the first video that's pinned on my profile, that's called Unexpected Money. You can watch that. But it's basically about changing your mind about where your money comes from. Do you have any book recommendations to understand the 3D simulation better? I have on my page that's available in my bio, I have a list of products that I recommend. You can go there, and I have the books sort of sectioned for beginners and for more advanced books, so you can check that out. I've heard and tried so many techniques to get a text from SP, I guess, and now I'm confused as to what to do. Okay, so getting a text from your SP is a mistake. That's trying to manifest something very grossly into your life, right? That's like me saying I want to manifest a lamp, right? It's not really what you want. You don't want a text from your SP. You want what from your SP in general? You need to think about what is it, the role that you think your SP is fulfilling in your life to give you what ultimately? To give you what? To give you a family, to give you love, to give you passion. Ultimately, what do you need them for? And that's just step one, right? Understanding what you need the SP for. But you never want to manifest a text. Text is useless. Manifest a text for what? And it takes you so much energy to bend somebody's will. I said you can. Okay, you can if you catch them at a lower consciousness point at some point, lower than yours. But it's worthless. Right? That's why people manifest with all this method, all sorts of texts, and their ex is coming back and leaving them over and over. It's useless. Don't do that. Let's see. Hi, guys. He ghosted me, came back, and I reacted, and he ghosted me again. What can I do? You can do my 60-day challenge and change your opinion about who you are in relation to him. But if you guys do all these methods by which you force our consciousness to text you, and or they become, what do they call it, make him obsessed with you, you know, then you'll spend all your energy trying to make this spell that you've cast stick. And we all know that all spells unravel eventually, right? And you'll always have this fear that it's not real anyways. It's not real. You made it happen for a while. How are you going to maintain it? With what energetic force and level day to day are you going to be able to maintain the spell that you put on them? You can't. That's why, you know, you're manifesting the same thing over and over again. Okay, so I hope I was clear on shadow work. I've done a video today about the 3 seasons in manifesting, rather that 3 steps I called it, right? But it's actually 3 seasons that they refer to as planting, nurturing, and harvesting. So what I wanted everybody to know is that when you do this work, the internal changes that you experience need some time to manifest in 3D reality. It's always like that. And when they do manifest, they're not going to be an exact image, but it will be very, very similar to what you had in your mind. But there will always be some details that aren't exactly the way you imagine it. And that's okay, because usually those details make it better than what you expected, you know, if you've done the work correctly. So when you are in this delay, when you're planting new seeds in your mind, so when I say that step 1, really there's a step before that. Let's call it step 0. Step 0 is you got to understand your limiting beliefs. Because how are you going to plant if you don't understand what soil you're working with, right? How are you going to know what to plant? So you really, step 0 is do the limiting belief exercise that I am outlining. And then you start planting. And you start planting by, you know, you can do it by doing my 60-day challenge, because I have everything laid out there for you. If you want to do another program, that's fine too. The idea is you have to do something consistently, and doing it the way we do it with a group of people holds us all accountable. So that's different, right? Like I show up, you know, I showed up all summer 3 days a week at the exact same time. You got to show up for yourself 7 days a week for yourself for a few minutes to do this work every single day. And it actually shouldn't be a few minutes. It should be a little longer. You should also meditate, you should script, and you should really invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. The reason you're not starting is because your subconscious, doesn't want to change. It doesn't. It likes the existing ego that it has, and it knows you're safe in it, so it doesn't want to change it. And the other reason you don't start is because you know it will require work. And you don't, you know, you go to work and would give 8-9 hours to your employer, but to yourself, you'll give 0 at the end of the day. You'll watch TV, you'll watch the news, you'll watch a show, you'll talk to your friend, and all of these things are programming you even more into the same way that you're thinking about every day. So every day you wake up, you start the same simulation or dream or creation from the same point that you were yesterday, right? Because you watch the same shows, you watch the same news, you have the same political affiliation, you talk to the same people, and they have the same ideas. And this is what happens. This is why your life is always the same, or with slight variations of, you know, the people may change, but the results are the same. And until you actually do this work, not just listen to lies, until you say, okay, I'm committed. I'm going to do this work. Until you do that, nobody can do that for you. I got a text, a DM on my Insta, and it was from a guy, and he said, can you make my girlfriend come back? And I said, well, start with, you know, my 60-day challenge and start watching my lives in my group. He goes like, no, you don't understand. I want to pay you, but you do it. You do it for me. Like, no, I can't do that. And I wouldn't even if I could. That's crazy. Any morning routine ideas? In terms of manifestation, or in terms of healthy living, or, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you shouldn't be looking at your phone to see who contacted you. I guess, you know, you don't have to be a coach to say this. You know this, right? You shouldn't. You should, first of all, you shouldn't jump out of bed. Ideally, you wouldn't wake up with an alarm. You should contemplate the dream that you had. You should associate the dream that you had, because the dream that you have when you're doing this work, and I know you're doing this work because you have our symbol there in your username, it's very important to pay attention to what your subconscious says. So when you wake up, that time is for you to sort of contemplate, to be like, what I dreamed, why did I dream this? How could it relate to my affirmations that I've made? Because the first thing the subconscious will do will show you the exact opposite of what you're affirming. So if you're affirming you're wanted, you're loved, what have you, your subconscious will show you a dream in which your SP is kissing someone else. Happens to everyone. Happened to me, happens to everyone, right? That's what it does. It's like, no, you're not. You're not, because, you know, I have a different code in here that says this. So I gotta remind you of it, right? Just don't take it. Don't take it. But it's important to pay attention to these things before setting into your world, your day-to-day life. Also, I wouldn't eat any meat in the morning with my breakfast. 60-day challenge is in my bio. The Facebook group is also in my bio. So, sorry, I want to go back to the 3 seasons we're talking about: planting, nurturing, and harvesting. What people are doing when they're planting, they would stop mid-planting and they would be like, where's my harvest? Right? Where's my harvest? I've been doing the work for 5 days, for 9 days, and he hasn't contacted me yet. I haven't won the lottery yet. Queens, the amount of time you have to spend in planting has to do with your layers of conditioning and how open your mind is to letting go of its existing identity. Now, you have to assume the mind really doesn't want to do that. So your spirit has to be stronger than your mind. You are going to plant until you feel like, I feel like I've said all that I need to say. I've done my limiting beliefs. I've affirmed in the opposite. I've done this consistently for a while. They're starting to ring true. It's starting to ring true now that I am loved and wanted and successful. You know, it's starting to ring true. When it's starting to ring true, it's time to stop planting and start nurturing. You're still not in the harvest. You're still not going to reap the benefits yet. Don't give up, okay? Because then you did this work for nothing. But if you want to know how long this stages take, that has to do with you, not with me, not with any other coach, not with any books, not with anything. It's your mind. And of course, all of these things, they help, right? They help if you work with somebody. They help if you read a certain helpful book, because everything you do makes it click more and more. But ultimately, it will be up to your spirit conquering your mind. Nurture is trusting. Okay. Harvesting, of course, is the manifestation arriving, Queen. Is that what you're saying? Planting is the egg being fertilized. Nurture is trusting. Harvesting is the manifestation arriving. Yes, exactly. So nurture is the faith. Is the faith. Just like you're saying, it's an egg being fertilized. Okay. For that, you have to take action. You have to do certain things. Nurture, okay, it's really out of your control in a sense, but what you have to hold is the assumption that everything will be okay and everything will turn out the way you want it to turn out. This is why give us an example of nurture. So an example would be like when I have in my group, print out the premises and put them all over your house and recite them. Okay, so those are not your affirmations about, you know, I make $1 million a year, or, you know, excuse me, I just got to decline this call. Please don't call me, guys. I don't take calls during my life. So the affirmations are separate part than the nurturing. The nurturing, you don't say your affirmations over and over again about what you want. You don't say your goals over and over. If you said them a few times, it's enough. Now it's time to say the premises. What's the premise of your life? Everything always works out for you all of the time. You trust, you let go of the how. Everything that we're doing in this group, right? Like that is the nurturing part. And the nurturing part is like my idea, and it's also taking inspired action along the way, right? In 3D. So inspired action is, for example, today I got an interesting email from somebody from different states that I've never spoken to. It's business related. And it's all of a sudden I was thinking of something, and then this person contacted me, and I'm like, this is highly unlikely that this person would contact me about the same thing I was contemplating, and I don't know him, but he knows somebody else I know, and he wants to talk to me. So inspired action is me replying to that and saying, yeah, let's chat about this, because it just comes to me. That's part of the nurturing. Part of nurturing is like, I don't really feel like doing this right now. Who's this guy? I don't know. Like, forget it. Those are opposite. So once you're done planting, you're in the nurturing stage, you will see inspired action comes to you, but also you have to have the trust and faith that it's on the way. And you have to tell yourself every day, all of the premises that we talk about that are in the 60-day challenge, you have to repeat them. You really have to print them and put them everywhere. I have them like everywhere. And anybody who's doing the work seriously is getting significant results. I added some testimonials on the website in my bio if you guys want to read them. I have a lot of them. I just added like 6 of them today. I'll put more of them. But they're basically, people are like, yeah, every area of my life is changing. Well, obviously, that's why you're doing the work. So the timing as to when your manifestation will arrive has to do, I hope everybody understood, the harvesting has to do with being done planting, having nurtured it. This nurturing period is anywhere between 1 day and the rest of your life. I can't provide you with a guarantee. Nobody can. And please don't listen to anybody who does, because it has to do with a lot. But what I do in this group is we cling to small changes, we cling to small manifestations, and we amplify them. And we hype ourselves up, and we tell ourselves, hey, this are the result of our work, which they are, right? They're the result of our work. If I say, let's all manifest X, and 20 people get it and they put it on Facebook, hey, this is the result of our work. We can do this, guys. Right? All of a sudden your confidence grows, your trust grows. You're like, yeah, the same way I did this, I can, do the other thing that I really want. Somebody says I am seeing changes in my work, body, and SBO. Of course you are. Of course you are. And the changes will be proportionate to the internal shift that you're having as a result of this work. Let's see. Trust and let go. I'm new to meditation, and today I heard a voice out loud and said, hey, and it took me out of it. Yeah. I have an interesting story about hearing one voice one time. It gave me a message, and it came true, and it was like the most unlikely thing. But I don't know if I want to talk about it on a live. Maybe I'll just talk about it with my group. But yeah, if you're meditating, you heard a voice that said, hey, that's your mind being like, what are you doing? I don't like this. What are you trying to do? Remember, your mind always tries to keep status quo. Okay? It tries to keep the same identity for you every single day, because that's what's safe for you. Let's see. Alex says, hey, Mona, how can I manifest apologies from an SB? Why do you need apologies from an SB? What do you really want from your SB in terms of love? I want your mind to be there. See, because that's petty. That's just the ego. I want to manifest an apology from my SB. I'm saying it straight like it is. I don't sugarcoat. Okay? You don't need an apology. You want what from them, or from your love life in general? Because you're going to have them. You're going to have that, what you want, with them or better. Even if you never get an apology, it doesn't matter. Because their existence is not that important. What's important is for you to get what you want in your love life. What do you want? You want to be loved, adored, held, provided for. I don't know if you're a man or a woman. Protected, prioritized, married, a father, a mother. What do you want to be? Let's see. Apologies we talked about. I'm scared to meditate because of these voices and entity encounters. If you're an experiencer, I know we have a couple of experiencers in our group. I'm not an experiencer. By experiencer, I mean, people who have encountered entities, have seen them as clear as day, and have done this. then, you know, it is, I understand the fear factor. I understand. What you have to remember is that even though I believe personally there are many layers between us and God, ultimately there's a protection on us such that our free will cannot be violated, or it would have been violated a long time ago, right? Because if there is something negative out there, even if it's a little stronger than you, right? Just like in real life, it will overtake you. But the reason it doesn't is because it's not allowed to. And as long as you keep exercising your free will and you don't give in to them, they can't do anything. Just remind them this is your reality. They're not allowed in. Enforce who you are. Enforce. If you're religious, you can say, I'm a child of God. You can't touch me. You know? If you're manifesting, a celebrity is seeing all the reels and videos pop up on Instagram. BBL, birds before landing. No, that's not what it is. It's just your reticular activating system. You know, do you know what that is? So basically, if you say, I want a Mercedes, right? Then what happens when you go on the street, if you have this car clear in your mind, you're going to start seeing 10 cars that are exactly like the car that you want. That's like the first step, right? That's the information portion of your manifestation. It's your reticular activating system in your brain recognizing, yes, that's what it is. Then comes the intention. Okay? So the information, then intention is done with energy, and then your ability to keep your attention on the ultimate outcome will be key. Okay, what's the ultimate outcome that you want with this person? Do not objectify them. They're a celebrity. Who cares? Okay? You see yourself in the life with them because of different reasons, because you just love them or something like that. I used to do all this kind of meditation can bring you to a place that is dark. Yeah, it can. It can. Just, it depends on the dark, right? Because sometimes the dark is inside of you. If it's the dark that I talk about with the entities, and if you're a real experiencer, that's different. And by the way, we don't know that they're dark, right? We just know they're different than us. You know, think about how we treat people that are other humans who are different than us. Let's think about that, right? Where our brain is trained to recognize what is different than us. And there's such a difference between these entities and us that we're automatically afraid of them. Should we be? Who knows? You know, even, you know, in religious texts, they say an angel came to them, and the angel, first thing the angel says, even though the angel is the most beautiful thing, please don't be afraid. Because that's what manifests inside of you. You ultimately, when you see something that's different than you to that level, you're going to be afraid. Just ask it, like, who are you? What do you want? Let's see. Does SP have free will, or do we live in different parallel realities where we select the one that's matched the state we are in? I think, look, if you want to think of this as a simulation, as parallel realities, as whatever you want to think, you can only jump to a parallel reality. Like, it's not important for you to understand it. We'll never understand it for sure. But in order to jump realities, let's say, okay, if that was the case, you would need to be someone different, because the version of you that exists in that reality, who's a match for that version of him, is not you here watching this live. This is the whole point of doing the self-concept work in manifestation. You cannot jump timelines when you're the same person. Something's got to change inside of you. You cannot jump timelines, parallel realities, whichever way you want to think of it. If you wake up and 95% of your thoughts are the same thoughts you had the day before. You can't, for the same person, the same reality manifests. So do not worry right now about understanding how you ended up with them. Is it like, how did I end up with my SP? How he, you know, came back a totally changed man? Have I jumped on a parallel reality? Does that matter? The point is, I know I shifted internally and I cured a major limiting belief that I talked about many times, right? And when I did that, yes, a different version of him showed up. But the work is about you. It's not about him. Don't worry. Like, you'll never be able to prove what really happened if you jump timelines, if you know, it's the wrong focus. That's what I'm saying. Scott says, after starting affirmations, the first dream I can remember, a man was teaching me how to affirm. Beautiful. I'm manifesting a Range Rover. Beautiful, Queen. I manifested a Land Rover for myself. And now I'm doing something else. So, like, when I was manifesting a car, that was my dream car. I was in a Hyundai and I manifested a Land Rover. You should never ask when you're not sure what it is. Interesting. It's a different conversation. Can you talk about how we're going to be tested? I feel like I passed something today. Yes, you will be tested in 3D reality. 3D reality will give you a scenario similar to the past to see if you react the same way. And it will be very, very key that you don't react the same way. I manifested $10,000 today. We have lottery wins in our group. Somebody said on this live they manifested 75,000, but then I asked them for a testimonial. It never came. Somebody else said they manifested 1.2 million, but again, they never provided me proof. So I don't really talk about these things. But I'm glad if you manifested a lot of money. Now, I understand that if people manifest a lot of money, they might not want to talk about it, and that's okay. But I know for a fact there's been money manifestations. Yeah, very, very unexpected money. You know, sometimes it's your own money, right? The government sent me a few months ago a lot of money. It was my money that I overpaid in 2019, but you know, I didn't know they were doing a recalculation. I didn't apply for anything. I didn't just boom, you know. So just keep your mind open, and it does happen. Let's see. So Aaron, was that satisfactory as an answer? I know you're manifesting your SP, so I just want to make sure you don't have the same reaction. And when I say the same reaction, pay attention, guys. When I say you don't have the same reaction, it doesn't just mean you control yourself, right? It doesn't just mean I'm feeling the exact same way, but I'm going to control myself and not raise my voice. That's not, the universe reads your emotion, right? It reads your emotion. So if you're feeling the same way about an event, what you have to do is diminish the importance of these events, okay? Whether it's work, whether it's your SP, whether it's like, you know, when I was doing my SP work, it's like, is this what reality is returning to me? Is it bringing me one step closer to having a life partner, to being married, or is it just talking? Okay. And that's how you're tested. So you decide. I shared on a previous live, you know, when my SP sent me a text that he still cared for me and he loved me. I just deleted it because I was like, that wasn't the issue. That's not why we broke up, because it wasn't love, like manifesting something else. And then it still worked out, right? Because I didn't say yes to this test, to be like, oh, let's go for coffee and talk about it because I still love you. Doesn't matter, like, you still love me, right? It's not really relevant to why we're not together. Hi, Mona, if I skipped my 60-day manifestation a few days here and there, do I have to restart? Yes, you do. You have to restart and you have to reset your goals. This is consistent work because it's shooting into the formless substance, consistent energy. And don't forget, you're doing work for the group as well. And the work that you're doing for the group has to be real. You have to commit to affirming for others. I used to see white light in my third eye when meditated. I started to have a knowing. So what happens to me, I'm very sensation oriented. So like right here, it starts to pulsate when I get in that state. Like it's a real pulse. I don't see any lights or any images as such, but I feel, thank you, a pulse. So all of these are normal reactions. I miss anything? I want to manifest money, but I want 1,000 a day, 120,000 a year, and to be a multimillionaire. All of these are in conflict with one another because 1,000 a day is 365,000 a year, not 120 a year. And none of that is being a multimillionaire. So you have to be very clear, Queen, about what you want. Okay, this is just one little example on how people give very confusing instructions to the universe. Another one is they put a big goal that's too big, like I want to win $250 million. And then they're like, okay, but actually I'll take $1 million, or I want to make $1,000 a day. And they keep looping in their head through what they want. That's why it's never good to set a huge goal like this. It's just not, like a huge goal of 250 million. I mean, this goal I read here is reasonable. It's just not consistent. Do you find manifesting money or anything for that matter easy now? So I actually don't manifest money. I manifest a certain lifestyle. So I told you guys, when you want money, you never want money because you want a digit in the bank. You want to do something with that money. Do you want to travel? Do you want to provide for others? Do you want to do charity work? Do you want to buy something for yourself? Do you want to upgrade your living condition? What do you want to do with the money? Right? Because I am now convinced the universe doesn't understand actual numbers. I'm convinced of that myself. I'm not trying to convince you of that. I think it's much, much better staying focused on what you want to do with the money. Let's see. Just start from day one again. So you don't have to buy the challenge again? No. You don't have to buy it if you already bought it. I want to manifest paying off my mortgage by a certain date, make a declaration. Oh, Sakia, I haven't seen you on the live for a long time. Make another declaration. Make a declaration with the group. Use Anno Mundi. If you don't know what that is, I posted a short clip on it on my Insta. How can we trust that the universe can bring us something better in whatever it is that we want? Because the whole premise of using the universe to manifest is you have to think it's benevolent and infinitely more intelligent than you. If you don't believe these two things, you have no business trying to manifest. Because even if for a little bit you think the universe wants to toy with you or to play with you, then you shouldn't be playing with it, right? This belief inside of you will create that out of the infinite intelligence, because it can only return based on your instructions. Guys, if you don't believe that this formless substance exists and returns to you in a benevolent manner and that it's neutral, you probably shouldn't be doing this work. Maybe that's why you're having problems with entities, right? Because you're already starting off thinking the universe might not return to you better, might return to you worse. Why would it do that? Okay, so we talked about shadow work. We talked about 3 seasons, planting, nurturing, and harvesting. Do not try to harvest when you know you're still in planting season. How do you know you're still in planting season? Not all your affirmations ring true yet to your mind. When they all ring true, you're done planting. It's time for you to nurture. Nurturing means trusting the universe and taking inspired action. And then harvesting is, of course, the coming of your manifestation in 3D reality. Now, I want to talk about one more thing. A queen put this on our Facebook group. And she says, this one's about dating. Okay, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit. She says, and I told you guys, if you're manifesting or if you're changing, you're doing the inner work, you should be dating if you're single, just to see what other people's perspective is. Their reaction towards you should be different. Okay. And so she says, I have an interesting story for those of you who are dating. Mona talks about using the dating process to observe how guys start to show up differently for us as we do more and more of this work. Well, about 4 years ago, I remember matching with a guy on a dating app and we chatted for a few days and then he deleted me. I didn't really think about him after that, and I've had relationships since then, but now I'm back on the apps. 3 days ago, the same guy shows up and starts talking to me on the app. He obviously doesn't remember me. But now the same guy is already asking me to go for a drink. Same guy, different outcome now that I'm doing the work. I'm actually not that interested given he deleted me previously, but it's interesting to see that it's showing up for me. Keep doing the work, queens. Okay. So I want to talk about to anyone who's online dating. Because somebody asked me how I met my SP. I met him via online dating. This is no other way to meet people, right? Especially, I told you guys, it's the second time around for both of us. This is our second time we're getting married. And, you know, in that, if this queen, I know for a fact, she's in the same situation, she's divorced and she's back on the dating market, right? There's no other viable course of action other than online dating. You can't pick up people in the grocery store. It's creepy. You don't go, like, I don't go to bars or clubs or anything like this. And you gotta open up a really wide avenue of meeting people. Isn't that a limiting belief? Erin says. I think you have to be realistic about the way you're going to live, right? So for me, it wasn't a limiting belief because I believe online dating opens you up to basically everyone in the world, doesn't it? Right? And I wasn't going to change my lifestyle. Like I wasn't going to go to bars, clubs, or, you know, do any or talk to strangers in the grocery store. I wasn't going to do any of that stuff. So for me, this was an immense opening avenue, right? So I always, but you have to approach it a certain way, right? You have to approach it a certain way. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with this testimonial right now. So when you're talking to somebody online, what do I tell you guys? First of all, do not talk to anybody for more than a few days before setting up a coffee date. And tell them it's going to be a 30-minute, I said 20-minute, a 30-minute coffee date to see to validate your profiles. Okay, by the way, guys are gonna love this because they're used to investing in expensive dinners for chicks they turn up, they don't like them. And you know, so your approach is this: you're a queen, your time is valuable. You're going to see if he's the one matching his profile. He looks like his photos. You're going to initiate this, right? But before you meet somebody, you should never consider them as, how can I say this nicely? I don't want to say consider them as a person. Online dating is more of everyone's a number. You know what I mean? When you're talking to somebody, you don't even know if their profile is real. You don't know it's not a scammer. You don't know, like, let's say if I'm talking to a guy, right? I don't expect him to know my value when he's talking to me. So I wouldn't take this as, oh, he deleted me 3 years ago and, you know, he didn't delete me, right? He maybe thought, look, I don't even know if this profile is real. I don't even know if, you know, like, something's fishy here, or, you know, like I'm not somebody to him. I don't expect to be somebody to a person that just sees my profile online, right? So don't have that expectation. That's an expectation from the ego. Now, once you meet them in person, it's different. It's different, right? Because think about it. Before, since the beginning of time, two people only determined if they like each other and they want to talk once they saw each other face to face. Okay, so now you have to do a pre-step to this step, but only when you meet somebody in person and face to face can you really allow yourself to develop a rapport to this person. This is why I'm saying do not, under any circumstance, correspond with somebody for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, develop an attachment just so you show up and they're like 15 years older, they're like 120 pounds heavier. They're like, you don't want to do that just to see that he has no manners. He stinks, you know, he smokes, he uses profanity, or who knows what else, right? So when somebody writes to you online, especially if you like them, it's very important you meet them right away. Now, to this queen who left this testimonial, I would say, do not worry that he deleted you 3 years ago. Don't take it personally. It wasn't personal. It wasn't personal, right? You're just a number until you meet somebody in person. Now, once you meet them in person, you expect a totally different behavior from them towards you. They have to recognize your value. They have to ask you out. They have to ask you out on a proper date after they met you for the coffee. And if they don't, they're a delete. You delete them. It's a scratch and delete. Okay? Do you guys have any questions around this process? It's just a numbers game when you're online. Do not develop an emotional rapport or interaction, funny banter with a stranger, because you're going to get emotionally attached. A lot of people have this problem with online dating. They're heavily disappointed when they meet the person in person. So this step should not exist where you connect with a stranger online, unless you're looking for a pen pal that you want to, like completely anonymously share all details of your life with. People used to do that back in the day. I developed an emotional rapport with someone, but I'm in no contact with them now. How to remove that attachment? Now it's difficult. You're not the only one. I don't know if that's very useful, but I talked to a few women who actually never met their SPs in person. I found that disturbing. It's disturbing that you would allow yourself to be in a position to be hurt by somebody you've never even met. Right? For the queen in the story, I want you to give this guy a chance. 20-minute coffee, not a drink. You don't need his drink. You don't need his free meal. You don't need any of that. You're the one assessing him. Get it? I'd go for this 20-minute coffee, and I would say, if I talk to a guy for a couple of days, I'd be like, I'm enjoying this interaction. I'd like to know if you'd like to go for a 20-minute coffee just to validate each other's profiles, to make sure everything is correct. And then we can both determine if we want to go for a date later on, this not being the date. What do you think? I've never gotten a no. Great. Sounds great. Right? Now, when you show up to this 20-minute thing, you as a woman determine where you want to meet, right? Because it's a safety issue. Do not have a coffee that he brings you. Obviously, I don't have to tell you that. Come with your own coffee or meet at a coffee shop. But if you go into a park, come with your own coffee. And it's 20 minutes, and you remind them it's 20 minutes. Me and my SB had a 20-minute coffee. I liked him right away. But I was like, 20 minutes is up. Ha, 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 I gotta go. I I just met him during the day. I'm like, I gotta go back to the office. He's like, great, And he said, can I see you again? And I said, well, message me on the app and we'll talk. He did, and then I accepted. I said, yeah. He goes would you like to go for dinner this Saturday? I said, yeah. But that's the proper way of doing it, right? Any questions on the process? Is nobody dating on this live? I find that hard to believe. As you're doing this work, you will notice the reaction of the people you're dating towards you will change. The less emotional attachment you have to them, the quicker the change. So for example, the guy you're dating online, you've never met, you will see that those guys' reactions to you, if you've actually done the work and you've changed, will be different than maybe a string of guys from before that ghosted you. Right? These guys will all want to date you, or will all be reflecting to you whatever image you've been developing. Can you still go on dates with other people if you are manifesting someone specific? Not only can you, but were you listening to what I said? You have to, because you have to determine if their reaction towards you, if the way the dating world is treating you has changed. When I started manifesting a specific person, I started getting ghosted by everyone. This is normal. Do you not see why? When you start manifesting a specific person, you're telling yourself he hasn't chosen you. You have to do all this work so that you manifest them. You're not really chosen. And then the world is reflecting back to you. Everyone's ghosting you because you're not chosen. It's that simple. That's why I said I never affirmed for my SP. I never manifested my SP. This is why, guys, like, you know, I tell you again and again, I have videos on it. Watch Manifesting SP playlist in my bio. Like, you can't stop objectifying these men and putting them as, you know, please choose me. Let me whisper in your ear. Let me do this method. Let me do the honey method. Let me put, I don't know what else they teach too. Such bad advice from people to affirm for SP. Yeah, never affirm for SP. Never. Do you know what? Because then I also see these people who tell you to do that. They don't have a personal story. And I know a couple of creators have seen it, and it's very evident in their account that they don't have a ring on their finger, right? Like, what, you know? Oh my God, no, they don't. Yeah. Yeah, but they tell you to whisper and to... Two interesting things have been put on our Facebook group. What's happening with our group is really interesting. It's not only are people manifesting the previous manifestations that I've set as challenges for the group, but another thing that is happening is people are having the same stories that I did. So we have 2 stories so far from the last couple of weeks. And it seems like if I tell a personal story on the live, it will happen to somebody else. So one of my stories, and I only tell stories about me if they're teaching stories. So one of my stories was from a few years ago when I was manifesting a very specific 5-digit sum of money. And my cousin got it, like very unexpectedly out of the blue and as an extra, you know. So she called me and she said, I won this amount of money. And I was like, I didn't dare tell her that it was my money. But it was like that specific sum. So I tell the story, and a queen posted yesterday or the day before on the Facebook group. She said the same thing. You know, she goes like, oh, I don't even know if she knew the story because she's a new member. And she says, oh, I was manifesting $10,000. My cousin just called me to say she got $12,000 out of the blue, right? Very close. And I was like, but that's the same thing that happened to me with a cousin, like exactly like my story. So that was one story. And I explained to you guys why that happens, because you're energetically intertwined with the people we identify with, usually a sister, a cousin, a best friend, whatever happens to them, sort of whatever you want, you may be projecting on them because you kind of identifying back and forth with them, right? There's somebody like you. And then the second story is I told a story about how my mother, she had these diamond earrings from her family from back in the day. And it was given to her at birth, and she lost these earrings. Then she never found them. They're diamond earrings. And then we moved twice. So we changed 2 houses since she last seen these earrings. And at some point in the house we were at, this is the second house we moved, she reached into the couch where she was cleaning the couch, and she found these earrings, which would have been absolutely impossible because the couch was not the same couch that we had in the old house, you know? So it was just very strange story. So I told this story on the live about how, you know, parallel realities. And I guess my point was, you know, reality works that way, or works in ways we don't understand sometimes. This queen puts a story today saying, here's my diamond earrings. I lost them 5 years ago. And they just showed up today. And she posted a picture of them. And I just thought, I was like, but that's the same as the story that I said. And I think she found them also in the couch or something. But I was like, are you guys just like manifesting my stories? Like, you know, what's the sign of experiencing parallel realities? Slight changes in things you remember very differently. I have that all the time. But I'm not really bothered by it because, you know, if you keep a high vibration, you're always moving into a different script or a different reality or a different, whatever you want to think, a different game, different But you'll notice small things. And I notice these things even about my body, if that makes sense. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I notice differences in my body from like that, inexplainable, really. You gotta laugh, right? When you do this work, you gotta be prepared that as long as you keep a high vibration, as long as you keep the intention for the highest benefit of all, which is what all my affirmations include, right? Do not try to manifest $1 million. Maybe, someone in your family, something happens to them and that was their insurance policy. No. You manifest it to the highest benefit of all. Always, everything you do. Do not try to take something from somebody else. If you have an idea that your SB belongs to someone else, do not try to break that bond. Just keep your focus only on what you want out of that SB, right? Do not try, just be like, I am loved, I am adored, I am like whatever we're talked about. And what happened to a queen, this was in May, her SB was with somebody else and he was already engaged. And I told her to remove her focus from him and her and to wish them well and just to keep affirming what she knew were the feelings he used to give her. He was her ex-boyfriend. And his fiance cheated on him and left him for another man. So he came back to her, to this queen in the story. I told her not to take him back right away. But the idea is she wasn't focusing on manifesting her away. Just happen automatically, right? It just happens by itself. The last you said we manifest to see a snake. That was a long time ago. Many people got snakes. One queen, and then I said, I'm not going to make this scary anymore. I didn't even think it was scary because I'm not scared of snake. One queen, like she was just starting this challenge for a week, and then I said the snake, and then she's like, I'm not going to see a snake. And her kids brought her a snake on a plate. They're like, we found this in the garden. I'm like, yeah, that's how it works. I wrote a letter to a friend A 20 years ago. I got the exact letter back from friend B last week. Reality is strange. And when I have these things, I always smile and I'm like, thank you, even if it's not something profitable, like a lot of money or something. I'm just thanking it for acknowledging me and for orchestrating these things and for giving me the faith, because every time something like this happens, your faith increases, right? I keep trying not to think about her, but her name pops up everywhere. Yeah. Even said it during my live, no? I want to know if you've done the work on focusing on yourself and what you're trying to achieve out of the relationship, Erin. How to keep high vibration, exercise, music, affirmation, stay positive. Number one is you have to remove your focus from the world. Before exercise, music, affirmation, staying positive, you cannot focus on 3D. All 3D is negative. All TV shows are negative. I rarely watch TV, but when I do, I only watch like sci-fi or comedies, but even comedies have become negative nowadays. It's not like a comedy to me would be like, I rewatched recently Father of the Bride. That was really funny. It was something that disconnects you from 3D. It wasn't like some mental exercise about how some people broke up and, anything triggering. Anything that is triggering you, something in you, a reaction in you is negative, And I'm talking about political news. I'm talking about watching videos on Twitter. Like it's only like what's wrong with the world, It's, you don't understand, like this conditioning is happening all the time. So you can exercise all you want and listen to music and have your 20 minutes aside to meditate. But if after you meditate, you go back to the same world with the same conditioning and you're putting more of that in your mind, you have no chance of dropping your limiting beliefs, right? That's why I advise people, let go. Like relationships will start to not work out when you're doing this work. Let them go. Because everything that's in your life right now is a reflection of who you are now. And if you're changing, you can't take everybody on this ride. I want you guys to understand that, right? Some structures will crumble, whether it's job related, friendship related. I have people who are doing my work who say, like, I just broke up with my friend of 20 years. I saw her for what she really was. Yeah, this happens. Does the work speed up the timeline? Yeah, of course. Like maybe she was going to cheat years later, but cheated earlier. Or are you talking about my story? Who knows? Some things about reality you don't need to understand. You just need to understand it works when you're doing things in a certain manner. Weirdest thing is friend A and friend B don't talk. Yeah, I know. I believe you. I believe you. Stuff like that has happened to me. Like there's people who repeated back to me specific sentences that I wrote down. Very specific sentences. It was strange at first. Then I got used to it. Is the word SP in your affirmations? Okay, no. No, stop giving a certain person importance. We can use the word SP when we're talking about the fact that you have someone in mind or what have you, but your affirmations should not include the word SP. Yeah, I just want to make sure because I got to wrap it up. Say don't have to be positive to manifest. What manifests? Some coaches say you don't have to be positive to manifest. What do you think? I think what manifests is your most dominant state of mind. So you don't need to be positive 24/7. Nobody is, right? But you need to know how to get yourself out of a negative state, or you need to, in a negative state, you need to become the observer versus the experiencer of that negative state. So it's like when I have a negative state, or when somebody annoys me, or when it happens, right? I just immediately recognize that. I step from the experiencer to the observer, and I'm like, oh, I see myself. I'm really annoyed right now. It will pass. It always passes. It usually takes like 3-4 minutes. And I disconnect from the person who's experiencing that. Get it? So what you need to know, your ability to balance will be balanced back to the state where you want to be. Because what happens is you need to be able to tell yourself where you're at. This is the only way you can use even the law of assumption, because you need to tell yourself who you are. If you decided you're loved, wanted, a millionaire, but you can't even reason yourself out of a state of annoyance, doesn't make any sense, right? So I hope I answered. If you guys have more questions, please consider being part of the Facebook group, being part of our challenge. The cost of it is very nominal. But you know, the commitment from you is you have to do the work on a daily basis for at least 60 days. Okay, I end my lives with a 369 tapping method. I recite, I am a winner, and you guys all recite it with me. Maybe that's why we have so many wins. Put your hands together. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.